Good evening, Pastor MacArthur. My name is Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Hi. And I just have a question. Are you aware of the Twilight series?
Am I aware of the Twilight series? Yes, I'm living it.
My question...
This is it. No, I'm not aware. I don't know what you mean by the Twilight series.
Okay. It's a book about vampires and werewolves.
Oh, one of my favorite subjects, vampires and werewolves.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever read 10 words about vampires and werewolves, but anyway.
I was just wondering, do you think vampires and werewolves are satanic?
Well, first of all, they don't exist.
Right.
So do I think it's satanic? Sure, absolutely. I wouldn't allow any child at all to get anywhere near that kind of stuff, because what it does, they got enough evil in the real world, and what it does is create a horrifying, unreal world, a fantasy world where you can get away with even worse things. You know, there are certain confines in the real world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the real world, certain behaviors are acceptable and unacceptable. In the real world, there's a level of outrage, but in the world of vampires and werewolves, from what I understand, you can fly through the air and bite off somebody's head and spit it out, or you can morph yourself into some kind of a horrible, ghastly creature that can wreak havoc and massacre cities and people. That is evil the way Satan would want it to be in an unrestrained world. But he can't pull it off in this world because he is restrained. But in the fantasy world, Satan is unrestrained. And I think that's all that is. That is a fantasy world in which Satan runs unrestrained. And I mean, this comes down to video games, this comes down to books, this comes down to movies. Anything that takes people into a fantasy world takes them to a place of danger, because there are no boundaries, there are no limits for behavior in the fantasy world. And that is why we have the kind of behavior in the real world that goes beyond these bounds to a degree that we've never had in our lifetime in the past, because people finally obliterate the line between the fantasy world and the real world, and they turn into monsters that do horrendous things that even appalls the criminal element in society. So I think everything needs to be done by a parent to keep your children out of the fantasy world. Keep them out of the unreal world. Emily, that was a really good question.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.